it was sort of like, oh, this is a fun thing, and then oh, this is a successful thing, and then years later it was, oh, that that was a turning point thing, and now we're here at GalaxyCon. So it's
30 years later,
yeah,
we're
that's
still
right,
hanging
which
out
is
together.
incredible.
And
Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back under the sea with two amazing guests from Disney's 1989 classic, The Little Mermaid. So without further ado, let's go back to the grotto and bring them up. Our first guest is an actor whose body of work includes the Brady Bunch movies, Starman, and several animated versions of Spider-Man. Today joins us as the voice of Prince Eric in the original Little Mermaid. Please welcome back Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Hey, hello everybody.
Hey, how you been, Chris?
Great to be here. Thanks.
Great to have you back. How's the new year been treating you so far?
So far, so good. It's been a crazy last 18 months, but we're all hanging in there doing the best we can.
Yeah, indeed. I have optimism that 21 will be more fruitful and better than 20 was, and I'm sticking to that optimism.
Amen to that. Let's hope for it.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely good to have you back, boss. Glad to see you in good health and good spirits.
Thanks very much.
And our next guest, she is an actress and singer whose body of work includes The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Camp Lazlo, and the highly undervalued series The Pirates of Darkwater. Today she joins us, though, to discuss the role of Princess Ariel. Please welcome back everyone's friend, Jodi Benson.
hey guys,
Yay! Woohoo!
happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm glad I get to spend it with you guys.
I know, I am privileged. I guess by default I'm Sebastian.
We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you. And thanks for having us back. This is so fun to get to celebrate with all you guys today.
Jodi, it is always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Hope the new year has been treating you well.
Yes. Just like with both of you, we are looking forward to a great 2021. I think we're on the road to recovery and healing for our nation. And hopefully we'll all be able to join back together again very soon in person.
Absolutely. And as always, we here at GalaxyCon are looking forward to the day when we can once again host you on our stages and get you back in front of your fans. In the meantime, welcome back to the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Our team right now is going through the chat room, pulling out the questions. In the meantime, I just want to throw this out. During the process of recording, did the two of you ever record together, or was it always parallel tracks?
Chris, you want to go ahead?
No, you take it. Ladies first.
No, we did not. I mean, it was, I think we all did the read through the first couple days. Chris, were you there the first couple days in LA when we did like our sing read through or not?
No, I just was showed up.
Yeah, I think you worked by yourself. I did get to work with Sam and Pat and Ken Mars, and we did have like a day and a half together, with plexiglass in between us. But Christopher and I did not get to work together in person. So yeah, that's really sad.
It is, but it kind of added to the mystery, right? Of having that sort of strange distance between the prince and the princess.
Oh wow, yeah, it's so curious because it used to be done troop style, then it began to sort of fade out, and now the swing is to go back to troop style recording. They've realized there's an energy to getting the actors and performers in that spot together. But again, that was a time, and again, a lot of people tend to forget too that that was non-digital. You were still working off tapes, correct?
That's right. Big old reel to reel. The real deal, the cut and paste kind of deal. So
hold on a second. Okay, take from hey, yeah.
That's right. Actually, really, really good tape that they had to go back over again. And when we, would make mistakes, it's not like you could go back and really correct it. You kind of had to start from scratch.
Yeah, yeah, very true. So you did the read through at least. So what was the read through like back at those times?
It was really fun because for me, being a Broadway kid, I had, just been doing a Broadway show with Howard Ashman, Smile. And so it was a really comfortable position for myself and for Sam Wright and for Pat Carroll being theater people. So we all just sat in a semicircle with Howard and Alan at the piano, and then the executives that were there kind of watching. And we just pulled out our scripts and did a cold read. And we did that twice through, sang through the songs. Howard sang through all the songs first, and then each one of us tried our songs as well. And then we started recording after like an hour lunch break of some sort, with a plexiglass in between us. So it was really great because we did get to have that kind of chemistry and that working back and forth experience with each other. Then from that point on, we had those people sort of in our heads swimming around. So then we started recording individually by ourselves. And that's when Howard and I pretty much, well, he played all the parts, but he just stood in the studio and read me in for every line. So I feel very, very thankful that I had him.
Sure. How about you, Christopher? What was your read-through experience?
I wasn't at the read-through.
Really at all? Yeah, just they plopped you in a la carte. Yeah,
I showed up, and it was a very different time, But yeah, as Jodi said, it was just a very different time to do things, and I had a lot less to do. All my dialogue is a lot more compressed, and so it Although what was interesting about that is when they started recording for the first time with the video camera, I noticed. I said, why are they recording us, with the video camera? And they said, well, we're going to incorporate that into the characters. And I just thought, that's amazing. So I think that was one of the first times they did that, because it was '89. They didn't have the technology before that to just,
That's true. Disney did have some precedent where they would do the actors and film them, but they would do like the full sets, all the Tinkerbell scenes from Peter Pan and Snow White that are the actors. But I think that was an interesting hybrid where they were like, okay, you just read it, we'll just take up your tics and mannerisms and stuff like that. Yeah. And your role may have been compressed, but do not undervalue it, sir. You are very much a part of this film. So
there can't be the film without the print.
Indeed. And I'm sure you're constantly asked. This is the most common question that we've all seen when people say, "Oh, did you always know it's going to be a success?" I prefer to transpose that question into, when did you begin to realize that the film may have actually begun to exceed expectations?
Well, for me personally, I had no idea that this film was going to have any success. I realized that Disney was in a huge transition, that the animators had been removed from the lot. They had moved onto Flower Street in Glendale in trailers. And so I kind of caught wind that things were in a big changing season. And I think there was a lot kind of writing on this film. But for me, they weren't going to really reveal who we were. They were just going to roll our names at the end of the credits very, very quickly, not run them at the beginning of the film. And so it was going to be basically anonymous. So I just thought, well, I'm doing 8 shows a week in New York on Broadway, flying back and forth doing this voiceover, but it's just going to disappear and nothing's ever going to become of it. And it was going to be this really fun job. But I'll just go back and go on with my life. So, it really wasn't until they started doing the critics screenings that's when I got the call to go on press tour, the 22 days and 20 cities in 22 days.
Wow.
And I kept going like, why are we doing that? Because I'm anonymous. They're not even going to be able to put Ariel with Jodi Benson. It was just going to go so fast at the end. You'd have to stop your VHS to go back and read who was even in it, So they were like, well, it seems to be having a lot of great publicity. I thought, oh, that's nice. So for me, I had no clue really until after, opening in November. And I thought, oh, wow, this is kind of a big deal. So all of a sudden, life kind of took a little detour to the right in a great way.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, I was only 15 at the time when I did it, so I was very young. I wasn't really thinking in terms of those, the politics and understanding all of that. And I was just this fun job to be a part of. It was a Disney project, which was kind of cool, and I got to be a prince, which was neat. And then, of course, I realized how successful it was, when it was successful. But I didn't realize I didn't realize it was going to be a legacy thing. Like that didn't hit me until I was actually much older, much later in life, because then you realized it was the beginning of the Cats and, like, it was a whole new time in Disney.
Yeah.
And then when we saw that transformation occur, it was sort of like, oh, this is a fun thing, and then oh, this is a successful thing, and then years later it was, oh, that was a turning point thing, and now we're here at GalaxyCon. So
30 years later,
yeah,
we're
that's
still
right,
hanging
which
out
is
together
incredible.
and still talking about
Incredible.
this film 30 years later, 31 years now.
Which goes to show you
Isn't that crazy?
the power of mythology. It is a
Right.
myth that touches people on a fundamental level in multi-generational, and that's
Mhm.
interesting. That tells you something about the beauty of the myth, the perennial nature of it, and its lasting influence, because other things don't last like that. The Little Mermaid does, because the Little Mermaid has some very valuable lessons.
Right.
Absolutely. And from my own perspective, working in a movie theater when the film came out and seeing, oh yeah, big crazy weekend, and then seeing the crowds get bigger and bigger and bigger, as opposed to the trailing off for weeks and weeks and weeks on ends. Let me put it this way, thanks to you guys, I shoveled up a lot of popcorn off the floor.
The
Well, think
other
of
thing
it.
that was neat, the other thing that was neat about the film is that people applauded after every musical number. So when I went to see it with a generic audience, not a preview, not a premiere, not a screening, but just with the general public, I was really curious to see what that was going to be like. So watching it with just a bunch of wonderful people and families applauding, clapping like they're watching a Broadway show. And I kept looking around going, that's really unique. And that's Howard and Alan. That's really their doing of transforming the animated feature film into a Broadway animated feature film, so that you kind of get the best of both worlds.
And think about that was your talent, translating though from the stage to the screen. You did that, and Jodi is the voice of a generation. She is the coming of age archetype for an entire generation. And by the way, for like 3 generations now, she is the coming of age archetype.
Isn't that crazy?
That is incredible. That is amazing. That is an amazing thing.
It's kind of overwhelming when we think about the fact that we are part of this, like you said, Chris, this legacy that we're coming into our 4th generation now. And we have this privilege of getting to see these people pre-COVID, when Chris and I would be at the wonderful conventions together side by side, and just relishing in this moment that we get to hear everybody's story. We get to hear everybody's first time that they saw the film, from these 3 to 4 generations now. And who would have ever guessed in a million years back in November '89 that we would be here today chatting about that? And that's just amazing.
Incredible.
Again, it was just a moment where everything was in place, talent wise, creative wise. And I think, it was just that perfect correlation of everything, and the legacy and the testament builds to it. And as a fan of Disney and as a fan of animation, I thank you both for your contributions to it, because without the Little Mermaid and that Disney Renaissance, we would not be enjoying so many other things today. And I'm not talking just Disney either. I'm talking just the advancement of animation in other areas and things like that. So it definitely was. I was doing the metaphor earlier of the Model T and stuff like that about, yes, the Little Mermaid is very much a Rosetta Stone in animation history, and that helped lead us to the 21st century.
When I was doing the Little Mermaid when it first came out, somebody said to me, it was very interesting. Somebody that who I very much respected, an older woman. And this was very interesting. She was an older woman, and she turned to me and she said, "Huh, she saves him." I said, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah,
she was really, really unusual for
She saves him.
1989.
That's right, she does.
Considering that the previous animated fairy tale was Sleeping Beauty in 1961. So, or 57 or 61. But look how far we came, between Aurora and Ariel, and some of these transitions of characteristics and qualities, and like you said, the coming of age. So it's wonderful that we get to be part of this legacy.
And even the Prince of Sleeping Beauty really didn't do much. It was the 3 fairies that did all the things, slew Maleficent. But that's a topic for another day.
Sleeping Beauty. That's a throwback to the Volsung saga with Siegfried. That's a whole other thing.
Pretty much, absolutely. So our team let us know we're good to go on our audience questions. So let's go ahead and roll over to that one. And our first one is going to come from Petra, and they want to know, what were your reactions when you found out you got the roles?
Oh, all right, Chris, you go first.
My reaction was, "Oh, sweet! I get to be a prince. That's awesome." Like I said, I was 15 at the time. I was doing a television series, and yeah, that was literally my reaction. I thought it was cool that I was going to be able to be a prince in a Disney film, and I just got such a kick out of that. That was literally my reaction.
That's great. Yeah, for me, I had auditioned, and it had been almost a year since I had had that first audition. And I tell the story that I was at 16th and Broadway, payphone with my roll of quarters, and got beeped on my pager and called my agent, and she said, "You got Ariel." And I was like, "I don't know what an Ariel is. It sounds fun, but what is that?" And she's like, "Well, it's the Little Mermaid, this new Disney film." I was like, "Great, that sounds incredible." And I got to, jump on a plane and go out to sunny California. So it was a whole different journey. I'd never been behind a microphone before. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was ready for the adventure. So I was very excited, but had completely forgot that I had auditioned for it.
Indeed. And if anyone in our audience is young to know what a payphone, a pager, or a VHS is, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to GalaxyCon, and I will explain it to you. And if you don't know what a self-addressed stamped envelope is, then I can't help you. But Petra,
right.
Thank you. That was a wonderful question. And what do we have next? From Jacob, what's your favorite song from The Little Mermaid?
Gonna have to say "Part of Your World," Jacob. Gonna have to say that for me.
I feel the same way. I
Oh,
think that song.
thanks.
I do. I think that song. I think that's actually one of the best sequences in film. I mean,
Beautiful.
it is the quintessential youthful coming of age yearning. I mean, I think that song is one of the reasons The Little Mermaid is so enduring. It is such an expression of the human condition. It really is. It's beautiful.
And so shocking to think that that it was going to be cut by Jeffrey.
Goodness.
As he says, it would have been the greatest mistake he would have ever made in his life. But yes, it was going to be cut after a little boy dropped his popcorn at the screener, his little bucket of popcorn, and proceeded to go down onto the ground and pick up every single kernel during the song. And happened to be sitting right in front of Jeffrey. So that wasn't a good day. But thankfully, Howard and Alan were able to say, "Listen, this song really needs to set the tone for the film, and we need to know who this mermaid is. We need to fall in love with her, and then we need to root for her until the end of the film." So without it, there's a big hole. I'm certainly thankful, because I don't know what I would be singing for these last 33 years, 3 or 4 times a week. What would I be doing with myself? So we're thankful.
And it's another curiosity about that song too, is that it breaks a little bit of the rules in the sense when Ariel stops, what's that thing they call it? Like lyrically and musically, that's almost against the rules, but it works. It absolutely works because you're in the moment. We're invested in her passion, and her curiosity overwhelms it. So we go along with it, and I would concur.
That's thanks to Howard Ashman, really, because as an actor and as a director, the monologue, the storytelling is the most important thing. No offense to the music, absolutely no offense to Alan and to the score and the actual notes on the page. But in order to tell that story, you have got to get through with that lyric. And so the beauty of Mermaid and the beauty of that particular song is that it can't all be sung perfectly. It can't. It won't work.
Yeah.
You will not feel that authenticity, that vulnerability. You won't fall in love with her and really hear the angst in her heart unless some of it is spoken and whispered and not perfect, especially for a 16-year-old.
And that's also a very a theatrical element. That's a stage element. That's an intimacy
Hmm.
of the stage, which is
Right.
Yes.
kind of incorporated, which is very interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. So it is. That song is the soul of the film. I think Under the Sea is its heart. That's my theory. And Jacob,
Great.
thank you. Wonderful question. What do we have next from Angel? What has been the best part about voicing these characters?
Let's see. Well, it's been my whole life. Really, this character is not really like a character. She's part of, well, I want to say part of my world. That's easy, but she is part of who I am. And so it's not like we're two separate entities. It's just because it's been 30 plus years, Ariel just kind of lives within me. And it's such a joy and such a wonderful surprise. Again, never have anticipated going down this road in the industry as far as a career or making a living or paying bills. Wasn't ever part of the equation, which is why I think it makes it so special. When something is a lovely surprise like the Little Mermaid, it makes it even more unique and just intimate and so precious. I think because it is such a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, I think that being a big mythology nerd that I am, proudly so, to realize that I'm part of a mythology that has affected so many people in such a positive way. I mean, it's amazing. As Jodi mentioned, when we're at the conventions together, we're side by side. But I have moments of downtime where I can just sort of sit there and watch in amazement as just the throngs of people that come to her. And then some of them come to me too, which is great. But just watching that process is amazing. So many people have been so positively impacted by this mythology, and to just watch that, to be aware of that, to sort of intellectually understand that, and then go, oh, wait a minute, I'm a part of that. That's an amazing thing. And you see
You're
how
a huge part of it. You are a huge part of the
when you
film.
see people come up and they're trembling to for like a hug, and they're so moved by it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Jodi stand up, walk out from behind the table, because people are having like a meltdown, in a beautiful way. It's incredible. I mean, once in a while it happens with the old prince, and that's okay. But it's an incredible thing to see that and know that you're a part of that. And that's a really remarkable thing to me.
We keep a box of Kleenex at both of our tables because when they'll be in line and they're totally put together, but it's like they're two people away from meeting us, and then you can see it. So like we'll kind of mention to our wonderful assistants, we've got one going down. She's going down. She's coming forward. Get the box of Kleenex ready.
Yeah.
And then the second they walk up, it's just the floodgates. And what it is that they're remembering every detail of their life from the first time they saw the film, who they were with, who played these characters when they were swimming in a pool, the person that's already passed, their great grandmother, their mother, they're no longer together as a family, the child that they lost. They are reliving so many emotions. And, for Chris and I, it's such a privilege that they let us get to take a little peek into their life and into their personal life in such a genuine and lovely way. And that's what, I know we both miss that so much. Virtual is awesome and there's no complaint, but there's nothing like that human contact. I really miss that.
My wife has come to me to several shows, and she's watched this sort of process, unfold. And she said something to me interesting. She said, honey, you get told the same thing like 1,000 times in a day. She goes, how do you, but you make them feel like it's the first time you've heard it. And because she's watched this happen to Jodi. And I said, that's because it's the first and only time they get to say it to us. Yeah. So we're representatives of this experience that they've had in their lives. So there's a responsibility there. Like you have to really take it seriously. And that's, again, I can't go on and on about the graciousness of Jodi as
well, you're so kind. You do the same thing. We always have our heads up. We are making contact eye to eye. We don't just sit there with our hands, our heads down, sign,
And
slide,
some people
sign,
do.
slide. And a lot of people
I-
do, but
Yeah.
we do spend a really good amount of time with each and every person and listen to their story. And again, we feel privileged that it is a responsibility.
Having hosted you on our physical stages and having observed you at your tables, I absolutely, yes, I have seen you. I have greatly admired the way that you have both have taken the time with every fan who comes on up, and you've given them that magical moment. And
Well,
yeah,
let's face it, Patty, we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the fans.
Mhm.
I mean, if the fans weren't making a connection to this film, no matter how amazing the film was, we wouldn't have this life going on now 30 plus years later. So we know, we are grateful that it has made that connection. And so we want to just keep that going in a really lovely way, with the fans.
Absolutely. And Christopher, I think I saw one time where you had a Little Mermaid fan come on up to you and really just give you the works, and it was just so wonderful. And then immediately afterward, the next guy was like, "Hey, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man!"
It switches like that, turns on a dime.
Yeah. So Angel, thank you. This is a wonderful question. What do we have next? And this comes from Charlie, and they want to know, what are some of your favorite projects that you have worked on?
All right, Chris, go ahead. Go ahead
this,
first.
This from any facet of your career.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that I think the things I'm most known for would be the Little Mermaid, Spider-Man, and Greg Brady. I think those are probably the things that I had the most fun doing. Apparently I only do iconic things. I haven't done a lot of things, but I only do iconic things. I only superheroes, princes, and goofy guys from the 70s. So, I mean, I think those are probably the things that were the most fun and that I just coincidentally happened to be most known for. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go Little Mermaid, Spider-Man, and Greg Brady.
And again, I admire your humility, but I'll tell our audience, do not undervalue his version of Spider-Man. It was the 93's Fox version, and it is to an entire generation of superhero fans, and he is Spider-Man for an entire generation.
I honestly, I think I've played more Spider-Man than anybody, because I've played this guy and this Spider-Man and Spider-Man and Wolf Spider and multiverse spiders, or that's another, again, those are three great projects, and honored to be a part of all of them. And yeah, that's an interesting thing when I'm at a booth and a couple will come up and the husband will, or one of them, generally it's the husband, will say like, "Oh, Spider-Man," and the wife will say, "Wait a minute, you were Prince Eric?" Or the wife will say, "Wait a minute, you're Prince Eric." The husband will go, "Wait a minute, you were Spider-Man?"
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've given away quite a few like extra autographs by going, "Hey, here you go." Yeah, just take an extra autograph.
That is a wonderful Valentine's Day message.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, so Jodi, what's some of your favorite projects?
Well, Ariel, of course, near and dear to my heart, just because of, I think, the longevity and the fact that, she's such a special character and has touched so many people's lives and still today. So that for sure. I had an amazing experience on Broadway with Crazy for You for like 3.5 years. That was really life-changing for me before having kids. And that's such a sweet memory and a sweet accomplishment and reaching of a childhood dream when I was 8 years old to create a leading lady on Broadway. And I think having that sort of come true, it makes that extra special. And I think I had a lot of fun with Thumbelina, who really is kind of underrated character, but a really sweet story. And working with Barry Manilow was a lifelong dream of mine. I was a huge Barry Manilow fan growing up, had all of his albums and played all of his songs on my little 6-string guitar and memorized every lyric. So walking into a studio, being able to work with him was another like moment of thinking, it just doesn't get any better than this, you know? So I've been very, very blessed to have opportunities that have reached some childhood dreams, I think, for me. Wondering from Illinois, you know, would I ever be able to do anything like this, you know, and pay a bill? And so to think nearly 42 years in the industry now, paying the bills and getting to do what I love to do. So very, very, very thankful.
Excellent. Thank you, Sid. Charlie, thank you so much. That was a wonderful question. And let's go ahead and roll another one. And it's going to come from Jennifer. What would Ariel and Prince Eric do during the quarantine?
Maybe that's personal information that we shouldn't be sharing. Well, you know, if we go with the, we could say that after the sequel, they get married and have a daughter. So let's say now during quarantine, maybe they're grandparents. Maybe that's what Ariel and Prince Eric are up to. Maybe Melody's had a baby. I'm just going to go with that. Chris, what about you?
That makes a lot of sense. Prince Eric clearly has become, you know, King Eric. He's grown a beard.
A nice Sea Lord beard.
Little Sea Lord beard. And quarantine or not, he's always going to kiss the girl.
Oh, very good. Yeah, good answer.
Jennifer, thank you. Let's see. What do we have next? This comes from Ariel. Okay. What was your favorite scene in the movie?
So Ariel, this is a real Ariel?
That's
so fun. Well, I'd love to know how old she is, because we have the range of names in the late 20s, but now the name Ariel seems to be coming back with little ones, which is really fun.
We rest our case regarding mythology and the power of it.
There you go. I think for me, obviously, I'm going to say my favorite scene is Glenn Keane's animation of Part of Your World. I just think the animation is absolutely breathtaking, and the way that he conveyed everything with his animation, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous scene. So that's my favorite animation portion of the film.
I agree. I feel the same way. I mean, that scene, I never
You're just agreeing with me because it's Valentine's Day and you're just being extra.
Happy wife, happy life. I'm no fool. I know how it works. But that scene where she's spiraling up, where the shot of her, I never seen anything like that. You know, and the animation, it's amazing. Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely. Ariel, thank you very much. That was a great one.
Ariel.
And don't be afraid to tell us your age, because our lovely guests would like to know. And here's over Rosalind. If you could travel anywhere in the world with your character as a real friend, where would you go?
That's a really interesting question.
We've never been asked that question before.
I've never been asked that question. That's really interesting.
Never been asked in 34, however many years. Okay, so it's me and Ariel as BFFs. I think we would do, well, obviously after COVID, we're going to do Europe. So we're going to hit Amsterdam. You know, we got to do the Netherlands. We got to do her whole home area. And then we need to do all of Italy and Greece and the Greek islands, because then we got the water going there for both of us. So yeah, that's what we'll do.
I think that's a great answer. I think we would have to. So Prince Eric and I, BFFs. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to look up where all of the Disney movies take place, their actual locations. You know, they have those great maps. And then we're going to do like the Disney World Tour. So we're just going to go from where, you know, we're tangled in place, and we're going to go to each one.
Yes, that's a great idea, because you'll be all over the planet. That'd be great. Right.
You go to, you know, China, you go everywhere for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah. Travelers and questers, and yeah.
That's right.
And Ariel, I would love to see Ariel's reaction to snow.
Yes, I think she would love it. Yeah, she would love it. She would be doing some serious tail fin sledding.
Yeah,
she won't need a sled. You know, her tail will be perfect. It'd be like some contained toboggan. You know.
Yeah. Rosalind, thank you. It was a very fun one. Ariel is 30 years old.
Perfect. So she really
Mhm.
was possibly named after the film. It's the
Yeah.
right time frame. That's awesome.
There you go. So, and Jen, and she would like to know, what is your favorite ride at the Disney parks?
Everybody knows my favorite ride because I say it like a million times every time, and I ride it a million times every time I go. So it's Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom, and nobody can change my mind. So don't even bother to tell me about it, because there is nothing like that roller coaster, indoor, outdoor, backwards. It's just, and I've ridden it, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of times. And every time I go on it, I still scream like a crazy baby. And I still love the feeling of it. Even though I know every single thing that's going to happen, I still act like, oh, it's my first time. And then I always take the picture, and we do funny faces with the thing. And every
Yeah.
time we get our picture taken, we have to do a new funny thing, whatever the kids, come up with. So
And the Yeti still holds up tremendously. It's an amazing animatronic.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
And the
spoilers.
cold air, I love it. The cold whoosh of the air.
Yeah.
It's the best. And I've done it in 100 degrees. I've done it in 30 degrees. I've done it with snow flurries, and I've done it in a torrential rainstorm where it's beating against your face with pain.
Ooh.
And that made it even more exciting.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
love it.
there you go. And how about you, Christopher?
Oh, I don't even know if it's there anymore, but I think I would probably have to say the Peter Pan ride.
Oh, yeah.
Because it reminds me of the first time I went on that ride as a kid, and that moment where the shutters open and you leave the room, and all of a sudden you're like, I remember experiencing that as a little kid and just being absolutely I was like, you're flying above it was just astonishing to me. So even as an adult, when I would go back through there, I feel that sort of, especially if you're there in the summer, that that cold air hits you and
Yeah.
you're suddenly flying above that. It's just such a magical moment. That's why I just, that has such a warm place in my heart as a positive memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still there, and it's not going
It
anywhere.
is.
They just rehabbed it a few years ago. They
Oh, okay.
they did the queue line, so now you spend time in the Darling house. So it's like
Oh, that's great.
you're going through the house and the bedrooms, and the beds are noted with the boy, and the top hat is on. Yeah, so
That's great.
it's very charming. So that if they invested in that, that means they're not getting away a long time. So
Right.
and for me, Thunder Mountain Railroad at night.
Oh yeah, that's great. Great
At
fun.
night. I tell people say it's oh, that's a boring one. If you're ridden it at night, then ride it at night. So,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
and Jen, thank you. Wonderful question. What do we have next from Jacob? What was a beloved childhood cartoon for you?
Well, it's easy for me because I loved Spider-Man. And so that was a real dream come true when I was able to play Spider-Man because I collected the comics and I watched a Spider-Man growing up. And it's funny because Dan was the Spider-Man that I watched as a kid, and I ran into him when I was doing Spider-Man in the 90s. And I heard him and I went, You're a Spider-Man. And he was like, oh yeah, I did that in the 80s. I was like, yeah. And I go, and I'm doing it now. And then I remember when somebody came up to me years later and went, you're Spider-Man. Sort of the torch had passed. It was a very experience.
Wow, that's so amazing. Oh my goodness. I grew up in the Cinderella age, so that feature film animated on the wonderful world of Disney on Sunday nights in black and white.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm really old. But black and white, and just being able to experience Cinderella. Oh my goodness. That was just, and then we did get a color TV, and just seeing that was so magical. Yeah, it was amazing. And I just love that character because anything is possible in what looks impossible. And I think growing up kind of in a smaller town and wanting to do something really crazy that just didn't seem to be possible at all. And that character was just, I really love that film.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and getting a color TV, you enjoy Disney's "The World Is a World of Color."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Jacob, thank you. And I think we have time for one more, so let's see if we can go out on a really fun one. And this is going to come from Christina. What was your favorite part about, I'll rephrase this as recording The Little Mermaid?
Right. For me, it was working with Howard. That's the highlight for me for all of my sessions, was just him standing next to me and directing me and playing all of the characters really, really well. And just his ability to be so gracious and so kind and so supportive. And, the more I felt insecure, the more he would build me up. And I think everything that Ariel is really because of him and Ron and John, our directors. And, I'm just thankful that I got to be a little piece of that puzzle. But that's my fondest memory is getting to work with him.
Nice. Yeah, I think the process itself was utterly fascinating to me because, like I said, it was the first time that because I was 15, I was so young at the time, that the recording, I thought that was interesting. They were videoing, and I was talking to the animator, and I was just thinking, wow, so you're going to put my expressions into this cool Prince fun movie? He's like, yeah, we're going to figure it out. We're going to do it. And then just being part of a Disney film that I felt like a part of me was going to convey, to animation. I just got such a kick out of that as a kid. And I still get a kick out of it. Sometimes my family will, and I remember at the time somebody said to me, "Hey, that's your eyebrow." You do that with your eyebrow.
That's so fun. Oh, I love that.
Oh, wonderful. Hey, Christina, thank you. That was a wonderful question. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of The Little Mermaid. Jodi, Christopher, this has been absolutely wonderful. Any parting words for our audience before we go?
Well, we just appreciate your support and your love and your standing by this film and our characters for 30 plus years now. And both of us are so, so grateful for your support. It really means the world to us.
What more can I say? That's exactly right. And stay strong, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to get through these rough times.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
As always, it's been my absolute pleasure to serve you both today. Once again, thank you for joining us here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage. And I hope next time we meet, it could be on one of our physical stages. But if not, this venue is always welcome to you and your fans. And thank you, our audience, for joining us today. And thank you all for your great questions. I hope to see you all again soon. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Happy Valentine's Day. And please keep washing those hands.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, everybody. Love you guys.
Take care. Thank you, buddy.